So, it was a pretty good week of wrestling, huh?
And
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Essential Wrestling Podcast. My name is Karl. I am the ringleader of misinformation here with my band of merry men, of course, joining us as always, sponsored and powered by the Eastern Observer. You can taste the power, and as always, we are sponsored by ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends, play against the universe. And guys, she will like it too. We had an absolutely incredible week. John DeConnie, our first ever PWB champion, the living legend on the bottom part of our screen. How are things going today? Were you as ear-to-ear giddy as I was from last Tuesday till today?
Absolutely. Like we just got through saying, it was a good week of wrestling, and we went into it not quite sure what this SummerSlam is going to bring. When SummerSlam paid off, it put a nice big bow on the whole week. Good times.
The top part of the screen next to me, actually, I just accidentally hit his intro by accident instead of ours.
And number 4, John Smith.
How you doing?
Is that the audition? I know we joked about Maximum Male Models, but was that your audition for Max Dupree?
Brought to you and sponsored by Pure Life.
They paid a lot of money this weekend, huh? Pure Life. Down below him, he's going to be joining us for the first part of our show. It is a special occasion, and on special occasions, we always need our senior UK correspondent, Gary Mehaffy, with us. Top of the evening, Milady.
Ethan, obviously I'm assuming what this is like last night when Raw went ad-free in the first hour to get the ratings up at the start. Obviously having me here from the start is just to give us that wee boost in the demos, obviously. So.
That's it. You got to get those ratings up. And like I said, ladies, I cannot stress this enough. It is all about the algorithm. Hit the like button, subscribe to the Eastern Observer on YouTube for more Gary Mehaffy. There's no such thing as too much. On today's episode, actually, first things first before we get started, shout out to Ric Flair. I happened to watch Ric Flair's last match celebration from Jim Crockett Promotions on Sunday night. Cover to cover, absolutely great show. There was a Lucha Libre match from AAA, Fatal 4-Way, Black Taurus, Ray Phoenix, Laredo Kid, and Bandito that absolutely stole the show, other than Ric Flair. But when you get to wrestle at 73 years old, and you got Bret Hart, Mick Foley, and The Undertaker sitting front row with Michelle McCool, and your entire family's there. And he made it a point to say his entire family was there, even though Charlotte wasn't on camera. I'm sure that was an absolutely great moment in Ric Flair's life. So not even his career, but his life. We all should be so lucky to do what he did at 73, even if we make it to 73. On today's episode, we had an honest. All right, here we go. We had an Irish Donnybrook on SmackDown last Friday night. Get your Solales ready, ladies and gentlemen. We have a United States Championship match next week on Raw. We crown new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions tonight on NXT. Rich Swann and Kushida put on a gem this past Thursday on Impact. Gary Mehaffy will be with us to discuss the NXT UK and the big UK Championship match last Thursday between Dragunov and Wolfgang. We make this picks for this week's upcoming show, sponsored by ProWrestlingPick'em.com. We main event the show with the AEW and Chris Jericho putting his championship opportunity on the line just to get his hands on Wheeler Yuta this Wednesday on Dynamite. Jericho's got a guaranteed match 2 weeks at now I can't think. Quake by the Lake or something like that. Whatever AEW is doing. John Smith had another image in my head. I'll run that past Joey Jarjanka. Maybe we can say it next week. But Jericho's putting his spot on the line just to get his hands on Wheeler Yuta. Here are the Raw roll-ups heading into this past week. We showed these on our SummerSlam special on Saturday afternoon. For those of you who joined us for the SummerSlam special, we appreciate it. We thank you for coming back and joining us now. Raw up 34, AEW at 29. Impact at 26 and SmackDown 21, and then the rest said, just chugging along NXT, the UK, and Ring of Honor. Well, Ring of Honor's only had one show, but good for them. They're batting 1,000 though. One roll up with one show, batting 1,000. We're gonna curtain jerk though the show with the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. Absolutely, I will just mention I was closet a little hesitant about this card. Damn, did they just, as John Smith is putting on a show for us all, the same exact way. SummerSlam shine, and it main evented for one last time, John DeConnie, with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. This time in a last man standing match. We went over their history at the SummerSlam special. This was their 9th match, their 7th one-on-one match, and it just shined.
Yeah, it did. It started off. It was a little weird because, now that we don't have commercials on the network or the cock, if you will, every once in a while they'll run a vignette, they'll run an old, video package. For a minute there, I thought this one was going on, like 3rd or something like that. They started running the Brock and Roman package early in the show, and I was like, what in the hell is going on here? Anyway, they did it again. They used either the same package or a similar one later on. It headlined. It should have. It needed to. But even at that, it was a little bit odd. Roman did not get the champ's entrance. Roman came out first. A couple people were scratching their head about that. But it all made sense when Brock came out. Go ahead, sir.
Doesn't he always come out first?
You know what?
I think he always comes out first.
You very well may be right. But I just remember in the moment, I was like, hey, why is he coming out first? Well, regardless of whether or not that's his thing or not, it made sense when Brock came out shirtless, just in his, boxing trunks. And you're like, but Brock doesn't look like he's, like there's something wrong. There's something off with Brock, too. This is not usually the way he comes out. He's not wearing a Suplex City shirt or anything like that. Brock did a little bit of his, he got his pyro in, he got his flex on. Then he walked over a little bit to stage right to a front loader tractor, a large one, hopped on board, put on his flannel, put on his cowboy hat, and drove his tractor to ringside. He raised the bucket. He had it kind of hanging over the top rope. And you're like, all right, well, what's going on here? That's going to get dangerous. He climbed up into the bucket. He struck a pose. Roman was all confused. Roman's looking at the referee and going, what are we allowing him to do this? Well, he's Brock Lesnar. You going to tell him he can't? So the match starts with Brock hitting a Thez press out of the bucket. And remember, this is a last man standing match, so there was lots of into the steps, onto the announce table, near counts of 10. Fast forward a little bit of the way here. Brock gets now. I had a theory in my head. I had one crazy theory where Roman actually loses this match, and I saw, because of the fact that the bucket was hanging. Yeah, my bad. The bucket was hanging over the top rope. When Brock got behind the wheel of the tractor again, kind of midway through this match, around the 16-minute mark, I got real excited. I said, okay, and Roman was down a little bit. Like, he's going to pin Roman under the bucket of this thing, and the first part of my prediction is going to come true. Nah, that wasn't cool enough for Brock Lesnar. Instead, with Roman down in the ring, he put the bucket underneath the ring and lifted one corner of the ring. I may be exaggerating here. It felt like it probably was close to 10 feet in the air. Roman went rolling out the other end of the ring. He got off of it. He went around the other side. The Usos came out around the 16-minute mark. They didn't last very long, at least not in their first try. Paul Heyman got in Brock's face. He got F5 through the announce table. And I'm not sure. He may still be in the hospital at this point. He wasn't moving, I don't think, at the end of the show. Theory came down to try and use his cash in. I had called that one, at least in one of my versions of what happens here. He never even got a chance to. He got an F5 before he could even hand the suitcase over to the referee. By this time, the Usos had kind of come back too. They beat Brock down. Brock makes probably about 3 standing 9 counts, just makes it. They get him down one more time, and the kitchen sink comes out. The pieces of the announce table, the announcers' chairs, the ring steps, everything they can find, they pile it up on top of them. Michael Cole is losing his mind, screaming at the referee to count faster because what is happening in front of him is, just absolute mayhem and a disaster. Brock is down for the 10 count. Your winner and still Roman Reigns, the head of the table.
Yeah, so that's the end of an era. That puts Raw at 5 wins in 9 matches. Roman Reigns won that feud over the course of the past 5 years. I guess 7 years, 8 years. Yeah, that was 2015 was WrestleMania 31. So yeah, we're talking about 7, 8 years here. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with Brock next. I know Roman's got a date with Drew McIntyre. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But interesting to see what they do with Brock, where they go with Brock. He usually just fights for titles and main events, and now he's just kind of figured his way out of it. So,
Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because Lashley's going to lose to Ciampa.
John Smith, the show started off. Just go for Raw Women's Championship. That's
indeed. Like I've said with Zach Hines guy.
Once you get to him, but he said indeed, so now that's gonna be our new thing.
They've been pushing Bianca for a year and a half, and they're just not stopping, man. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Complete with a Spanish fly off the second rope, which was pretty awesome. The story though was after the match, after Bianca retained, clean win, of course. All of a sudden, Bayley's music hits, and she comes out, and she walks down that painfully long ramp about halfway and stops. And then all of a sudden Dakota Kai's music hits. And it's like, holy bleed. Holy bleed. And if that's not enough, then Io Shirai's music hits. Her name is now Io Sky. I don't care. Rename her whatever you want. She's awesome. And this is awesome. I wonder what their name's going to be because they still haven't declared that yet.
Kai and Sky.
No, Kai and Sky and Bayley.
So that was an amazing, absolutely amazing moment. Bringing back Dakota Kai, bringing back Io Shirai. But it does not take away anything from the match. The match was absolutely spectacular. John Lecani, what was your clock on that? It was about 15 minutes, right? Somewhere in that area.
15-10, yes, sir.
Incredible match. Spanish fly, as John Smith mentioned, into the KOD for the win. Becky separated her shoulder. I didn't see when, but apparently, from what she said last night on Raw, it was at the beginning of the match. So, shout out the Irish women, Gar. Right? I mean,
that's build them tough.
Well, she was probably all liquored up.
We're going from the Raw Women's Championship, John Lecani, to the SmackDown Women's Championship. I spy a Jersey girl, hook or crook. I'll take it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, this one was significantly shorter. They only went for about 4.5 minutes, and quite frankly, Ronda was dominating our girl, tossing her around. She, twice into the armbar, and Liv, God love her, made it to the ropes with her toes each time to break it up. She gets locked in a third armbar, and she's in the center of the ring. There is nowhere to go, and Ronda kind of leapt into the armbar, so she's dangling off her shoulder, so she's not even on the ground where she can kind of flail out and use her legs again. She's straight up and down, but she's a Jersey girl, so she knows how to make the best of a bad situation. So she uses the fact that she's standing, and therefore she has the leverage. She rolls Ronda to her shoulders. The referee gets down and makes sure those shoulders are down, counts 1, counts 2, and then doesn't see the fact that Liv could not take anymore and was doing a little tappy, 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 but he counted 3. Your winner and still SmackDown Women's Champion, Liv Morgan, with a version of the Raw Roll-Up.
That was a very defensive variation of the Raw Roll-Up, but that's 2 Raw Roll-Ups for Liv Morgan on Ronda Rousey. Good work.
And then afterwards, Ronda lost her mind, beat up Liv, put the referee in an armbar, and I'm sure some repercussions are coming / a vacation.
Yeah, she was. I saw WWE.com. She was fined an undisclosed amount. So maybe, hopefully, that money can go towards charity or something. Then we had a undisputed tag team championship match, Gar. And I guess the one thing that maybe we overlooked when we were previewing this match, I guess if you look back at SummerSlam history, this is only the third time that there's been a special guest referee. This year was Jeff Jarrett. The prior two were Jesse the Body Ventura and Jesse the Body Ventura.
So I'm going to bet who the next one is then. The next one will be Jeff Jarrett then again.
Yes. Either that or Jeff Jarrett's going to be the governor of Tennessee or governor of somewhere.
And he played it down the middle. He showed it from the start when they was doing the 5 count in the corner. He pulled each team out and was given off. So he really played it down the middle. And thankfully, he didn't play into the end of it at all. It was interesting the way that they did it. There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of focus. I felt when I was watching at the time on Montez Ford, which would play into when we talk about Raw later on. But you had them going at each other. Nearly Jey Uso almost super kicked Jeff Jarrett, but he caught it and stopped it. It was a sit-out powerbomb. There were frog splashes all over the place. There was a moment, and I haven't seen anybody talk about it, the moment after the frog splash and Montez Ford was not too happy that Jeff Jarrett was given off to him. About 30 seconds before, he was holding onto the ropes on the outside as if he was going to skin the cat and come back in. And you could see him hanging there and hanging there and hanging there, and nothing happened. And so I don't know whether somebody was out of position, whether Jarrett forgot to do something. I don't know what happened. But they went on, it was fine, and then all of a sudden we had super kick party and homage to the Young Bucks, where they got Ford on the outside, got Dawkins on the inside, and then emulated one of the greatest tag teams in history, obviously, and hit the 1D rather than the 3D and got the win. So.
Yeah, big win for the Usos. Jeff Jarrett, he called that one down the middle. Going back to that Ric Flair match, the fun thing about that Ric Flair match, they went out of their way to do a story going into it. And Jeff Jarrett was the a-hole that we all wanted him to be, I guess, that John Smith was talking about, that he could have been interfered in that match. But, Jeff Jarrett got upset. I guess Jay Lethal was training Rick, and then asked to be on the card, and Rick said, no, you're the first match type of guy or whatever, which set Jay Lethal off, and then Jeff Jarrett got pissed off about it. Then they jumped him in a parking lot. So, yeah, Jeff Jarrett played it down the middle. Was that Fonzie or John McConney? Played it right down the middle.
Yes, sir.
The Mysterios defeated the Judgment Day in a no disqualification match after Edge came out to Brood Music for the second year in a row and interfered. I guess I said in the SummerSlam special that he would have shown the Mysterios respect to finish the match before he came out to interfere, but I guess that theory went out the window. There you go. The theory's going out the window, John Smith. There was a United States Championship match as well.
Yeah, and kudos to whoever booked this thing, because the only way that you could even have me possibly believe that Bobby was going to lose was the way that this match started, with Theory hitting him about 7 or 8 times with the briefcase while he was posing on the top rope, to give him the advantage. He had that advantage for all of about 2 minutes into the match until he didn't. And then a power slam into not even a power slam. He just caught him in midair into the hurt lock. Quick taparoo, and still.
Yeah, still the United States Championship. We'll get more into that belt in the Raw segment coming up. Pat McAfee defeated Happy Corbin after Corbin accidentally hit the referee. McAfee hit a low blow, followed by a leaping code red from the middle turnbuckle for the win. Pat McAfee, I say he was on a little bit of a winning streak, but he's not, because he lost at WrestleMania to Vince McMahon. So give him 50-50. So I guess he's losing on the next one. Food for thought, though. Speaking of Pat McAfee on the next one. McAfee with this thing with Corbin. McAfee trashed Baron Corbin, and that's how this feud started. Survivor Series is somewhat around the corner. It's Raw versus SmackDown. Corey Graves is cleared. Do we get Corey Graves versus Pat McAfee? Because Graves was doing exactly to McAfee what McAfee was doing to Corbin. Because Graves and Corbin are BFFs or whatever. He slept on the couch, this, that, and the other. Don't be shocked if we see a Pat McAfee versus Corey Graves at the Survivor Series. I think that would be a lot of fun. Drew McIntyre, he did a promo. He did the impossible. He got Colts. He got a Colt chant at the Tennessee Titans Stadium.
Yeah, that's true.
That's ironic. There you go. And the funny thing is, Colts. Pat McAfee and Baron are both Colts fighting in the Tennessee Titans. Gary, that's American football. That was a American football joke. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's where we have the Super Bowl. Is that right? That's...
Yes, the Super Bowl. Gary, Logan Paul again making headlines. I did not want to talk about this match, but for some godforsaken reason, we wanted to. So there you go.
Logan Paul with the greatest debut since Pat McAfee, who had the greatest debut since that fella in TNA, whose name I can't remember. Whoever he was. He was a football player, I think. What was his name?
Shark Boy.
What?
Shark Boy?
No, Urlacher, maybe? Brian Urlacher?
No, I'll get it. I'll remember.
Pac-Man Jones.
This was the Logan Paul show, it has to be said. And it was to the point where begrudgingly at the end, the crowd actually cheered him. We had moonsaults to the outside. We had high crosses. We had standing moonsaults. Ciampa had got involved a little bit at the start when he tried to do it again. The ref went to kick him out. And then I thought it was funny when he was like, I'm not going anywhere, and put his chair there. Almost expecting to get a manager license out or something and go to. And then out of nowhere, AJ came in and chased him out. And then you did have the point where there has to be somebody who pays homage to Shane McMahon, obviously, at some point during these big shows. And Logan did that by doing the frog splash from the top rope, from the corner, out through the table, putting Miz through the table. Got him back inside. And Paul managed to avoid anything that Miz threw at him, and then hit the skull-crushing finale for the ironic win using Miz's own move. So
it's probably the first time anybody's been pinned off their own move.
Yeah.
Who's been pinned off their own move?
Shut up, John. Riddle, who wasn't medically cleared for SummerSlam, he came out of nowhere, and here we go, bro. Rollins came out, melee ensued, and a stomp quickly ended that. So that was SummerSlam, A+. I think, I don't know, we all agree. Can't wait. This is going to be awesome. Here are the points, the overall standings. John DeConnie has passed some guy by the name of Brian Roy. They both went 7-1 at SummerSlam. I am in third place. I went 4-4. I think I had the worst one out of all of us. Tyler, I forgot to do his standings. Tyler probably did the same as I do. He went probably 4-4 as well. Beavis Reverence right behind me by 4 points. And here are our WWE only standings. John DeConnie again passing Brian Roy after SummerSlam by 2 points, heading in to the Clash at the Castle, which will be our next segment as we take the switch gears from to the Friday before on SmackDown and the Irish Donnybrook. Gary, get your shillelagh out. I know you have one behind your couch.
No, it's the Mexican. It's the Mexican coming over right now.
What?
Yeah, I mean, these, like, to be honest, I don't know how many times over the years Sheamus and Drew have had matches. It seems like 8 million, and every single one is good because they just get in, kick each other's heads in for 20 minutes, and then they're done. And this was no different. You had tables, you had beer kegs being involved, you had all sorts of weapons being involved. I do have to say, Sheamus has some very interesting looking relatives whose photographs were hanging about, obviously, during the match as well. They obviously, they all have similar familial genes, obviously. But we had Drew managing to kick out or avoid the white noise and so on. Butch had got involved, and then eventually, as we came towards the end of it, after 20 odd minutes, as I say, of them just beating each other around, Drew did the white noise off the top rope. It was a Claymore on Butch, and then after Sheamus had gone for a second bro kick, missed it, kicked out, and we had a Claymore by Drew on a 1-2-3, and he took it. So he will be going to Clash at the Castle, which is ironically in a stadium and not a castle, but that's not the point.
Yeah, and who was called? Who's Jimmy Smith, right? That's his name, the Raw commentator. Nissan Arena. He said it the first time. Then he said it the second time, and Graves like, "It's a stadium, you idiot. There's no roof." It's like one of those Hulk Hogan, Silverdome, Superdome things. Like, come on. But then he said it again. I'm like, all right. And then Graves, fool me twice. Then Graves is allowed to make fun of you. Also on SmackDown, the Viking Raiders defeated the New Day after a double powerbomb post-match attack on Xavier Woods' ankle. And as is the new name, it looked pretty vicious. So, I guess there's another side joke in there between vicious and ankles and legs, I guess, for all you WCW fans. But that was pretty gross, too. And then Aaliyah was supposed to face Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans, not medically cleared. Too bad, so sad. Here comes Shotzi. Shotzi with the win with the Never Wake Up. She's another one. It's Shotzi's. I guess not that Lacey isn't, but Shotzi's 100 gave her a tank. So that will everything else that was on SmackDown was SummerSlam related. No need to cover it. Which turns us to about last night. And oh, the fun that we had last night on Monday Night Raw. John DeConnie, the show started with Becky Lynch in a sling, confirming her separated shoulder. Oh, get the red nameplates. Hold on. There we go. Got them for a reason. Separated shoulder from her match at SummerSlam. She found herself at SummerSlam. Good for her. Called out Bianca Belair to thank her for pushing her. Becky went to the back to give Bianca the stage, only for Bayley, along with her new tag team, Ty and Sky, gave Becky a nice send-off by attacking her in the back. Backstage, Bayley was asked why she targeted Becky. She said, not the case. It's not about Becky. It's not about Bianca. And we'll eventually find out. And before we eventually find out, John DeConnie, random match in the women's division. Little face-on-face action.
Sure. Who doesn't want to see Alexa Bliss and Asuka go at it? I'm down with that. Are you not down with that?
I'm down with the Brown. Wait, what?
I'm quite sure you are. Well, this one went all of 2.5 minutes before, what are we going to call them now? BKS, Bayley, Kai, and Sky. They came out, jumped both participants. We get ourselves a no contest. Bianca comes down to try and make the save, and Bayley, Kai, and Sky kind of scamper off. But Bianca makes it clear she wants one of them, any of them. She doesn't care who it is, but she wants a fight tonight. Roll it forward. We get another backstage segment with Bayley, Kai, and Sky. Once again, they're with Sarah Shriver. Bayley says that the women's division has been in a downward spiral since she's been gone, and she saw that as a cry for help, and that's why she's back to make all things good again. Well, Bianca got her wish. She would get Io Sky in a non-title match.
It's right under Cruz del Toro. I put it right under Cruz del Toro.
Yeah. I'm looking at my notes here. I see it. It's just, even Corey got some push-ups last night because he botched it once. And I know I'm certainly going to at some point.
Yep.
So this was a non-title matchup. And around the 8-minute mark, Bayley and Dakota Kai came through the timekeeper's area. 3 minutes later, Asuka and Alexa Bliss come down on the other end just to make sure nothing crazy happens. Belair and Sky are putting on a very nice match for us, but their seconds, if you will, just can't take it looking at each other from across the ring anymore. They all, instead of just fighting on the floor, they come meet in center ring. There's a brawl. There's a four-way brawl. We get ourselves another no contest.
I don't think I've ever been more happy about 2 no contests in my entire life. I was like, yeah, I don't get it. I was screaming along.
We got a really good 17-minute match before the no contest, so no complaints.
Io Shirai, I'll do all the push-ups in the world. Io Sky has been unleashed. 17-minute match with Bianca Belair. Bianca shined. Oh, God. This is going to be all that little first part of the episode. This is what we were waiting for.
Io outshined Bianca in that match. Bianca looked totally outclassed. She she botched so much stuff. It was like Io was going full speed and Bianca was trying to jog or something. It was crazy.
Ah, so good, so good, so good. Edge did an in-ring promo. It's now time to kill what he created as he brings out the NWO. Lethal dose of poison. The Usos defeated the Mysterios in the main event for the tag team championships after a 1D to retain the titles. Post-match attack on the Mysterios by the Judgment Day, thwarted by Edge, but then he accidentally speared Dominic when he was aiming for, I think, Finn Balor. I think Balor was in the ring, and then Damian Priest pushed Dominic in the fire, and Edge got Dominic. There was a pre-match interview with the Mysterios, and Rey was saying, "Hey, I'm friends with Edge. We're former tag champions, a bond that lasts a lifetime." Some seeds here. They call it in wrestling a slow burn, right? The split of the Mysterios, maybe. Who knows? Seth Rollins did an in-ring promo. Glad to be done with Riddle, so he can now concentrate on Roman Reigns. There we go. Somebody wants to crack at the title. Interrupted by the Street Profits, who cut Rollins off. Rollins cut them off immediately and told them that they sucked and they should split up. Jay Gates was probably happy with that. He chimed in on SummerSlam saying this was the end of the Street Profits. Profits played a game of rock, paper, scissors, Gary, which Ford kind of cheated and just ran right to the ring with the referee. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, and I did, as you said there were a couple of instances of, why don't you just break up? Oh, we're not going to break up, and all that sort of thing. So again, could be seeds for down the line. But I say after he cheated at his game with Dwayne Johnson paper scissors, he ran. They kind of had this match, and again it was a little bit of a showcase for Montez Ford. Even though you knew in your heart of hearts the chances were he was going to lose, he hit a really good tornado DDT, which seemed to be the move of the night last night. We had them on the triple threat matches as well, but
like Pete's Playhouse, everybody screams when they do the move of the night. Ah!
Yeah, it's like Buckle Bomb scared me. When he set him up for the Buckle Bomb, I thought they're not going to do it. And the commentators went, yeah, they're going to do it. And I was like, oh, no, he is going to do it. And Seth Rollins Buckle Bomb them, thankfully, all okay. The Falcon Arrow then for a 2 count. Ended up with Montez going for his frog splash, got the knees up, curb stomp, took the 1, 2, 3. But Montez Ford has shown that I think down the line there's some serious singles action coming up for him. So.
Yeah, that was an incredible match. How long did John the Con? What was the clock on that one? That was incredible.
10 and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, it felt like 15, 17, whatever. That felt very, It was. I would say it was almost like a smaller showcase. And I always bring up the 1990 Survivor Series. This is Bret Hart's showcase. He's got a one-on-one with Ted DiBiase at the end of the match. It took a roll up to beat him. Like, okay, this is kind of Bret's coming out party to break up from the Hart Foundation. And I feel like this was kind of maybe Montez's somewhat of a tryout. Like, hey, can you go?
Was this? I can't remember. Was this during the first hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
it was, because I think that's the thing as well. If they're trying to get more eyeballs on the product, Triple H has pushed somebody like Montez Ford in to go, okay, he's going to be one of my guys here. Let's get more people watching him as well.
Yeah. They say Montez Ford is a Triple H guy. All these people are Triple H. I mean, just if you go through the roster, they all very minimum. Like there's your Brock Lesnar, and I think that might be it, who didn't go through NXT. The Miz didn't go through NXT. He's been there for a while. There's very AJ Styles, and there's very few guys that didn't go through NXT to get to either Raw or SmackDown or the main roster. So it's, Montez Ford is high on that list. John Smith, the theme of the show, along with the women brawling, which was incredible, the United States Championship, and they went as far out of their way to put a video package about the United States Championship, and hopefully this is a nice restart to restoring prestige to the title, to the championship, and then also, I guess, with the belt that MVP made to go along with it. But this is the only male title on Raw right now. So I think this is a nice start to rebuilding this championship. And they put 2 triple threat matches with the winners against each other, and then the winner is going to get Lashley. So this is a nice little tournament style with they had Booker T on commentary. It was just great.
Hey, you know that this belt looks better than the old belt. I don't care who brought it in, all right?
The WCW one was still my favorite.
Absolutely.
The one that you have.
Yeah. Anyway, so first we get AJ, Miz, and Mustafa Ali. Three-man moves galore. The one point AJ had Miz set up for an inverted DDT. In comes rolling in Mustafa Ali with a rolling neck breaker, which plants Miz in the DDT at the same time. That was pretty cool. And this match went probably about 12 minutes. And by the end of it, Mustafa Ali hit a 450 splash, rolled off of it right into AJ's hands, who hit the Styles Clash onto the Miz. This was an awesome ending to a triple threat match. 1, 2, 3. Then we get Ciampa versus Ziggler versus Chad Gable. And you figure a heel's got to win. And Triple H is booking this. We're about to see a win by Ciampa. And it happened. He hit Ziggler with a knee while he was trying to get back in the ring. Turn around, hit Chad Gable with the knee, and then the Willow's Bell for the 1, 2, 3. And you get AJ Styles versus Tommaso freaking Ciampa later on in the show. And a winner is us for that. Because this match, you just go back and watch it. It was freaking awesome. These two this is the first time we've ever seen them go against each other, and it did not disappoint. Absolutely. And Ciampa comes out with the victory because Miz holds on to AJ Styles' leg behind a wall where the ref can't see. Almost gets counted out, and when he comes back in, he gets met with the knee and the Willow's Bell for the 1, 2, 3. And your next United States champion after he dispatches of Bobby Lashley.
And that's what it is. Next week on Monday Night Raw, it will be for the United States Championship. We have Bobby Lashley defending against Ciampa with the Miz in his corner. John Smith's going with new champion.
I know we all wanted to see Gunther versus Bobby Lashley, but I think we want Gunther versus Tommaso Ciampa a little bit more. Don't you think?
And that, Gary, the first time around, we saw that at Stand and Deliver a couple years ago for the United Kingdom Championship, the UK title. That was incredible.
Match of the year.
But I'm thinking, is it next week? Do we see the return of Johnny Wrestling?
Oh.
After that match, does Gargano make his big return in some way, shape, or form?
And then he can join up with Theory. He can join back up with Theory, and they can have the way.
Okay, let's pump the brakes here. You're ruining my game. John LeConte, who do you got next Monday night?
As much as I would not at all be upset to see Ciampa win, and I will actually be rooting for him. As we say going into SummerSlam, I think the idea of putting the U.S. title back on Bobby was to have a flag bearer for the brand since they don't have a heavyweight champ. So I'm going to say Lashley retains, but I will not be upset one bit to be wrong.
I just don't think just knowing the man. I'm sorry, knowing Mike. I call him Mike. Knowing Mike like I do. He was like, yeah, Ciampa's going to get it. He was all. There's just no way. Like this is going to turn into it. And I'm fine with a Ciampa versus Miz feud or whatever. If he turns Ciampa face, that's fine. If he puts the "No One Will Survive" music back, I rumor they might give that back to him.
Doesn't Miz turn on him when he's champ so he can try to be champ? Why would he turn on him now? He's got
because the fact that he gets the championship it outshines him. It's
everybody outshines the Miz when they're paired up with him. It's a historical fact. Name one person that has it.
Miz is just upset because he's got what's that? Yeah, that's what it is.
All right, so that will do it for Monday Night Raw. Like I said, we're gonna play a quick little, not really a game, but just a fun little conversation here. Once I find the gray, let's get the Raw. There we go, and we'll get the. As we saw at SummerSlam, Kai and Sky are back. Dakota Kai was released per Nick Khan. Io Shirai was not, but we also heard that she was going home. Like she just wanted nothing. She was out. Like she was done. So they brought those two back. They unleashed Io last night on Raw. They unleashed Tommaso Ciampa last night on Raw, which is great. Just real quick before we even get started this, the next two that need to be unleashed are Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville. Just let them wreak havoc.
Yes.
That would just let them just run havoc on SmackDown. Rumors going around Sasha Banks and Naomi coming back. It could have been as early as last night. I'm happy they didn't put them on SmackDown as well. That could build that division up a little bit. More people for Liv to beat, obviously. But let's get into and then Tony Khan, after Triple H took over, Tony Khan being a little like, yeah, well, you know, what are my guys going to do? Just jump right back. I got Adam Cole and Malachi Black for the next 5 years. Okay, great. So cross that bridge in 5 years. Okay, Tony? Okay, let's just cross that bridge. You know, we'll enjoy those guys on AEW. They're doing well now. There are some free agents missing. That I went through on my little ProWrestlingPicking.com list, and we'll just go one by one. And I have certain people with certain names here. So, John Smith, we'll start with you. You just mentioned them. They coming back?
I think they can come back whenever they want. It all depends on what's going on with the baby and stuff. Maybe they want to stick around for a little while the baby's young, but. You know, if I think they can come back whenever they want. Open invitation from Hunter.
John the County.
I mean, you know, I've been saying a buddy of mine asked me about him every time we, you know, like once a week we'll text back and forth about wrestling in general. Every week he brings him up. And all I've been able to say for the last about 6 months was I think he was available in November. I think that was the end of his 90-day, I want to say, somewhere around there. If he has sat out this long, it can only be because he's coming back. Because no one else would sit on him this long. So, you know, now someone else giving the yes and no on creative decisions and his creative mind, I do believe he's going to come back, and I hope he's coming back.
You know what was the fun part about Dakota and Io showing up at SummerSlam and even Bayley returning? None of it was leaked.
True.
It was a surprise. It was like, oh my God, this is the Attitude Era all over again. You know, like it's like,
what's gonna happen next?
Exactly. Just keep Meltzer out of it. You know. Gary, I mentioned her on Saturday at the SummerSlam special. This could be the most perfect comeback she could possibly ask for at a stadium in her home country.
I think so. It's just one, as you say, it's one that I'd love to see, and I do think that, as you say, like even on Raw last night when the EO was wrestling, you had Corey Graves going, "Oh, she's really good. If you haven't seen her before, she's really good. She's really building her up." And I think it's the sort of thing that if she comes back and in front of, well, forget Kane to come out, there'd be probably 640,000 at the Castle.
Yeah.
If they come out, if she's there, she'll get the big reaction. Everybody will know her, and then you can kickstart her and bring her back in. So I think, or I hope, yes.
You can't. I specifically got this picture with the Welsh flag on it.
Yeah.
It's where she's from. You couldn't write this any better for her to come back. So, and I was sitting there, I'm screaming at the TV. I'm like, "Come on, Tegan, come on!" I'm screaming at my TV outside. Like my neighbors are probably yelling at him. I'm like, "Come on!" And then I'm like, "Wait a minute, no." So,
Bianca's gonna need.
You can hold off a month on Tegan. That's fine.
Bianca's gonna need.
The thing with bringing some of them back is I do worry that some of the people backstage will go, "Oh, here's Hunter's guys, here's Hunter's," but some of them will get stigma. But hey, do you know what? If they're good enough,
guys.
Yeah.
John Smith. This guy just recently got out of Impact.
Ooh.
Meh. I don't think he'll come back. He's kind of like blah to me. I never liked the guy. So,
Gary, we're gonna go back to you, and I have a stable in my head. All right, maybe you can pair him up with Sonya Deville, but I want now. We have Io, we have Asuka. do we get? I want a 3 like Japanese assassins, and I want them to just do all of Shinsuke Nakamura's dirty work. Do we get Kairi Sane to come back home?
Nice.
I wish. I don't think that she will. It would be great to see, and we'd really bolster the ranks. But I think that there'd be a little too much water under the bridge there. But.
John Smith, I got a wheelhouse guy for you. Here you go.
Hey.
Oh, man. Dude, imagine if he came back and interfered in an Indy Hartwell match. I think we would all start to cry.
He came back for her.
Did you see him talking about how friendly he still is with Triple H and Shawn Michaels and stuff the other day in an interview? I thought it was quite funny. He's trying to keep his name out there, obviously, for all. Yep. Now that Triple H is back.
John Connie, a pair of my favorites. Got some tag teams going here, boys. John Connie.
I would love it. I believe when they left Impact, they said they were moving on to different things, altogether outside of wrestling. So I'm going to say no, but once again, be perfectly fine with being wrong.
Gary, remember these guys?
Oh, well, maybe they'd be better back on Raw than they would be at promoting shows in the UK, but if we know them, I always thought they were underutilized when they were in WWE. To be fair, I'd love to see them get another shot, but I can't see it.
I thought Hunter used them great when they were in NXT. They were tag team champions. They won the Dusty Classic. They great. It was one of the earlier takeovers. It was the Authors of Pain. It was DIY, and it was the Revival, and it was absolutely incredible. It was absolutely nuts. John Smith, tag team I know near and dear, close to your heart.
Borkin and Lurch. I forgot about them. No, I don't think they're coming back. Unfortunately, I'd love to see it, but I don't think it's happening.
John DeConnie, last tag team on the list.
I could see maybe a short run, but I don't see I don't see them coming back, full time, if you will. Maybe if the situation is right and there's something good for them to cosplay, drop them in just to pop the crowd one time with their outfits, just to make me laugh my balls off like they always did in NXT. But long term, no, I don't see it.
Could you imagine him against Pretty Deadly?
There you go.
There it is. Give me Pretty Deadly. Awesome.
Book
Gary, what about Toothless Timmy? King of the Fight Pit.
I would love to see him back. I'd love to know how the Raw audience or the SmackDown audience would take him. He would be amazing. I would vote yes. I don't think it'll happen, but I would love it.
John Smith, this next wrestler is sponsored by Popeye's Chicken Sandwich.
Not Pure Life Water.
Yes.
Am I John Smith, sponsored by Pure Life Water now?
Yes. It's Shane Thorne come back. You know what?
Who was he before he was Slapjack? I forgot.
Yeah, it was Shane Thorne, and he said, get Miller back too. Let's get TM61 back together. Bring them back. They were great.
They never really did it for me either. I could see them bringing him back, though, because he got a raw deal.
Speaking of doing it for me, Gary, come on. How do you not want that
back?
Well, stranger things have happened.
Can you just leave that picture up for the rest of the show?
Yeah,
you want to talk about ratings?
Yeah, right. Just do the show. That's just too back. That'd be funny as hell. Now we have one more release. We'll get to them at the end. But we have 2 huge free agents. I don't know if they've ever been in WWE before, but they've recently bid their due to their respective companies. John Smith, greatest music in pro wrestling. Can we get Chocolate Thunder in WWE?
I think we could. I think it would be in NXT, though. I don't think it would be on the main roster right away. I think they could use a veteran like him on that NXT roster.
Yeah. John DeConnie.
Make it happen.
Yes. Gary, now, like I said, there's one guy that just recently released. It's interesting. There's a story here. It's an obvious story if they want to do it. Best in the world.
I could see it's like something they would do around WrestleMania time, bringing it back or leading a faction in the Survivor Series or something random. But
And then Jonathan Connie, last but not least, he's not a free agent, but we haven't seen him in a while. The last time you saw him, he was pretty pissed off about his contract.
When everyone was talking about, he's done in AEW, this is not a work. He's done. He's leaving. I kept saying, good. Let him go over to WWE. Let them try and put words in his mouth when he's so good on the mic on his own, and he'll be bitching to get out of that company in less than 6 months. Those restrictions, I'm thinking, are not there anymore.
Yep.
So it would be something fantastic, and it would probably lead to the future endeavoring of The Miz, because they're kind of the same guy. So he would
shows.
Yeah, get that Legends contract. Get him the hell off our TV.
So I'd be all for it, but I think the other company would be insane if they let him go. So I'm going to say it doesn't happen, but boy, would that be entertaining.
Yeah, they what was I going to say? Two things. One, these are a lot of people to bring back just for Nick Khan to fire again. And then two, John Smith, I feel like we're maybe on the same page here. Does NXT appear at Survivor Series this year?
No, just because there's so many young, fresh faces.
Next year, I was thinking give him one more year before you get them back into the mix.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
they put together a pretty somewhat solid team. If you got you got Waller, you got whatever the War Games team was. Waller and D'Angelo and
Braun Breaker.
Yeah, Breaker, Hayes. So, all right, John and John, we
JD
will.
McDonough.
I'm sorry, what was that?
JD McDonough obviously would be captain of that Survivor
Series. JD McDonough would be the captain.
What the hell is that?
John and John, we would bid you adieu. That was a fun conversation. That was probably the longest WWE conversation, 52 minutes. I think we got to go a little bit of fast forward for the rest of this show. As we keep on, Gary Mehaffy. Gary, always fun to talk to NXT UK with you, and we had a huge championship match this past Thursday. And Dragunov got it done.
Did, and Wolfgang showed that he could hang in that upper echelon, and it has to be said, I think Ilya Dragunov may be the best seller of injuries in the wrestling world. He was brilliant the way he sold everything, and say right through when he had like torture racks and backbreakers, and there was all sorts of things, and he was trying to lift Wolfgang up and couldn't get him up, and was collapsing under the weight of it because of what was happening. And was trying for, as I did say, right at the end, when he was trying to go for Torpedo Moscow right at the end, or sorry, the Torpedo as they're calling it, just on NXT UK now. So it was like he couldn't quite get it, and Wolfgang had countered it and so on, but then he managed at the very, very end, he got it, pinned him, and shook hands. And I do think it's been interesting with Gallus the last couple of weeks. You've had Mark Coffey step up, you've had Wolfgang step up. So I think now it's going to come. You've got Joe Coffey now. He's going to have to step up and get involved somewhere. Yeah,
it's his time. Do you do something? I'm intrigued with this Cardiff card with the Clash at the Castle. How much you get these guys involved in?
Did you see the tweet that Butch put out? That Pete Dunne put out? It was quite funny. Was the picture of him back in the day holding the NXT UK title by his teeth, and he just put Clash. Probably. And I was like, well, he's just trying to start a rumor of him going. Now, I don't think he will. But I thought that's interesting just to get everybody talking about it.
But that wasn't the only title match that we had on the card. Got the tag team championships on the line as well. Those good old boys, the 2022 version of the Smoking Guns.
They're here for good. Our forever champs. Yep. There actually be some people in NXT 2.0 would be happy for us to keep them for good, I think. it's actually it'll be good for them to get more experience. And if you keep putting them in with veterans, particularly like Mark Andrews, will say veteran, those only around about 31 or something like that. But, people who are so good like that they can only learn and develop more and more through it. And obviously they've got their eliminators, high-low, total elimination type finish. That'd be great. Yep. You Heritage Cup match or something, that would be great. But when they hit their high-low, their total elimination for the win, and again, all shaking hands, making sure that we know that they're good guys too, even though they've beaten one of our sort of regular teams. So.
All right, then in the women's division, Blair Davenport got the job done. No hope for Amal. I thought this was a really fun match too. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it really was. It's been good with Amal. They've built her up to the point that even though she's lost to Blair Davenport, you go, but they're putting you in with her and they're making an issue of it, so you know that Amal is higher up the card now. So it was good to say the Falcon Hour win, but it was good that for Amal, but it's good to see Blair Davenport back.
So we have two matches set up for next week. Oliver Carter slightly messed up the De Familia's dinner table. That was just stuff out of range. That was just a slap in the face. Rohan Raj is going to take on Oliver Carter next week. I believe Carter got the win over Tealman a couple of weeks ago. Now he's got Rohan. I think he's going to get the Rohan. I think he's going to beat Rohan again, but then he's got Charlie, and that's going to be a whole different story.
Which the surprising thing is, when I heard he was going to work his way through them all, you kind of assume that it's going to be Tealman that he's finishing with. Yeah. But he started with Tealman, and I think they're doing it just to titillate the juices of my guilty pleasure to get Charlie Dempsey for the last match. And so they're doing that just for me. So
we forgot to bring up their swimwear. The swimwear. I knew what to wear to the beach this weekend. So that was thank you for Max My Mail Miles this Friday night on SmackDown. Gary was. They mentioned it on NXT 2.0. They mentioned it briefly that Chase U took a field trip to the UK and really kind of made nothing of it. But then we watched the UK and Chase U's going to be running rampant and it's going to be great. Enjoy Bodie and Tia Hale and, of course, our ringleader of fun, Andre Chase.
They've grown on me, it has to be said. I've seen the odd clip of them and watched a wee bit on NXT 2.0 and was like, really? What? But actually, last week, Andre Chase himself impressed me. And I thought the three of them coming over, you can't help but smile when they're about. So I think it'll be good fun.
Andre Chase had a great match against Fabian Eichner, whatever his name is now, Giovanni Vici.
Leonardo da Vinci.
That in the next segment, we're going to lead right into that. But yeah, absolutely, that was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought Vici should have squashed him in about 30 seconds, and he didn't. It went however long it did. That was absolutely good. Then they had a press conference for the NXT UK Women's Championship. Saray says she will win. Satomura says nobody can beat her. That's this Thursday. Huge match. Saray's got a big week because she's got Mandy Rose tonight in a non-title match. So she's got two champions in 1 week.
Saray 2 belts.
Yeah, Saray 2. Yeah, right. That's I honestly, Gary, I kind of funny feelings to be Saray about her damn luck.
Yeah, I still think it will be, and I do think this will still in the NXT UK match that there will be something to do with Amelia McKenzie will happen in the middle of this. I feel this is the time for it to happen. So.
Yeah, because she's up unless they bring something. Unless Fallon Henley's still rolling around, she's just accepting challenges from everybody. Again, all you have to say to Miko is please. Can I please have a title shot? You will get it. Gary, that was a fun hour. We appreciate you staying on overtime with us. I'll try to put a couple extra bucks in your paycheck for the extra work.
Appreciate it. Okay, the demos will be sky high now. You get that. The algorithm will show that. It'll be all right.
Algorithm will. Thank you so much, Gary, for joining us today. We will see you next week. Enjoy the Women's Championship match.
I shall see you then.
All right, as we bring down Gary, we bring back in John Smith, who's going to play the role of Doc Claw. There's John the Connie. Gentlemen, as we again always make the seamless transition from NXT UK to NXT stateside. John DeConnie, Grayson Waller, Wesley. Great match.
Absolutely, yeah. Wesley made a mistake, though. In his backstage segment, he made a point of saying that things weren't over between himself and Trick Williams, but Waller was just next to get his. Well, that didn't work out too good for him because at one point Wesley was out on the floor and a hooded figure from the crowd punched him dead in the back of his skull, sent him wobbling back into the ring, kind of goofy. It had been a very nice 11-minute match, about 10 and a half at that point. But he barely beats the 10 count to get back in. And then he's a sitting duck for Waller to hit that rolling stunner and get the 1, 2, 3. Waller wins. Wesley's pissed once, he shook out the cobwebs. And I'm sure we see him back around to Trick Williams coming up soon.
I think Wesley is going, the bold prediction, he's going to be the one that beats Carmelo Hayes. He will be your next North American champion.
I can dig that.
Let's put Nash Carter on that list, but I think that's a little too touchy of the situation for Nash Carter. Apollo Crews defeated Zion Quinn after a spike spine buster. There was a backstage with a group of NXT women who I need to do a better job of knowing their names because I have no idea who they were. Anyways, one of them wasn't happy that Indy Hartwell eliminated her from the Battle Royal the week prior. Her name actually ended up being Ariana Grace, who was Santino Morella's daughter. I apologize. Indy Hartwell got the win after a big boot. Big boot? What are you talking about? Triple H, as you know, is a fan of the show, heard my gripe a couple of weeks back about Wendy Chu. And thank God Wendy Chu had some rough night's sleep. It looks like we're wasting no time as Wendy Chu is ripping off Su Yung, and I don't care. It looks like Mei Ying will be back, and Miss Stratton is in trouble. This is going to be fun. They teased a little bit in their street fight, whatever that brawl, where she sat in the chair. She's like, they're going to bring her back, and now she is going to be deadly. I can't wait.
Next time you see this face, it's not going to be pretty or something like that, I think was the quote. Yep. Ooh, foreshadowing.
Joe Gacy can be the father figure that Cameron Grimes needs. As we all know, Cameron Grimes had a little bit of a daddy issue. We found that out during the Braun Breaker feud. Way to tie that in. That was good. Nathan Frazier back from injury, asking to be an honorary flag bearer for Chase U, John Smith, and Andre's match against Giovanni. That guy I was just talking about. Absolutely. Who knew that? 12 minutes? Really? Awesome.
Dude, Andre Chase can go, okay? Yeah, he's you know what? He's your comedy act of the evening usually, but you know what? He gives us hell of a match every time he's out there, and he has no problem looking at the lights. And you know what? It doesn't really matter because he's one of the most over guys, even if half of them are paid to cheer for him. Okay, so he got Giovanni Vinci just putting on a clinic with Chase, and then Chase putting on some nice reversals. But when it comes down to it, Chase couldn't get the job done. Vinci hit his what was it? The sit down, the last ride sit down power bomb for the 3 count.
Yeah, he needs a name for that. Kiana James talked nerdy to me with a PowerPoint presentation. Shout out to Drew Gulak on the Kita Lions and how she's a problem in the women's division. That was pretty fun. Tonight on NXT, JD McDonough, last week, JD McDonough went around the studio introducing himself to the NXT universe and dissecting things about them. Did you see what he was doing there? That was good. The same way he was saying he was going to dissect Braun Breaker's shoulder, Braun came out and said that they'll get reacquainted real quick at Heatwave. John DeConnie, today is the anniversary of Heatwave. I believe you did something about Heatwave, and I think Tommy Dreamer did something on Busted Open Radio about Heatwave today. I don't know if you saw that.
Heatwave 98 was on this day.
Mm-hmm. So Heatwave will be not tonight. It's not next week. It's 2 weeks from today. So there will be a summit tonight with JD McDonough and our champion Braun Breaker. Okay, so I'm out of order here. Okay, so backstage, there we go. There was an in-ring promo with Zoe Stark, telling us how hard she worked to get back 4 months early, which was very impressive. Interrupted by Cora Jade, who was mocking Zoe, then interrupted by Toxic Attraction, spouting out facts. Mandy Rose now has the 4th longest NXT women's title reign in history. So, Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, Mandy Rose. Very impressive.
Bye-bye Bailey, I believe was the quote.
Yep. Zoe wants to end it, but then Gigi stepped up and said she's going to take on Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark got the win after that flipping GTS that I forgot that she did. And I was very happy that she reminded me that she did it. I think that move is really, really cool. But then she got hit from behind by Cora Jade with the kendo sticks. Roxanne appeared out of nowhere. She cased Cora Jade away. So we're going to put that on the burner right now, as that's going to lead to the tag team championship. We're going to bring in, because we just found out there's actually going to be a men's tag team championship match stemming off John Smith, the main event from last week.
Yeah, we got the D'Angelo family, which is Santos's boys with that, what, Stacks? Or that's Stacks, right? Dimes is the one that they murdered, right?
Right. Two dimes left. He's now 4 nickels.
Yeah, sleeping with the fishes. Versus the Diamond Mine. So it's like, halfway heel on heel action, because you got Roddy and Kemp as heel. Well, I guess Kemp is kind of going face, and Roddy's the only heel up in there. So and it ended up turning out being that Roddy, the heel on the Diamond Mine, ended up kneeing one of the Creeds in the face at the end of this match.
Yep.
By accident. Tony had him sized up pretty good. Tony was looking right at him, and he still came up and decided to throw that knee. And we get the fisherman's suplex, not with the bridge, because nobody else can do that correctly, except for Heading.
That's it. I don't know. Peyton Royce's is pretty good.
And Tony D gets the win. And now we got Tony D and Stacks versus the Creeds for the championship.
And I'm gonna throw this question at you again that I asked you last week. Has Roddy Strong hired Tony D'Angelo to take out the Creeds, John Smith?
Still don't think so. No. But how does Tony D lose? Tony D hasn't lost yet, has he? I don't think he's lost. Maybe real early he's lost the match. But ever since he's got this strong family behind him, he hasn't lost a thing. And I'm going to have to go with the D'Angelo family here. I'm going with the title change, especially with, Roddy up in the air.
John Connie.
Whew, that's a good story, and actually both of you have good points there. And I think both could happen, but I think the Creeds retain now. There continues to be a breakdown, and Roddy eventually, as I've been saying for months, eventually gets kicked out of his own faction. Then he hires the D'Angelos to go after the Creeds,
right,
and it leads to a change of the tag titles. But for tonight, I'm going to say the Creeds retain.
I'm going to go with the Creeds as well, unless this is a last-minute thing. I wouldn't say there was no build to this, because there was, because of the match last week and everything from the week before and whatnot. But we just found out about this match 2 hours ago. So I'll just take the safe bet with the Creeds. But, yeah, Roddy's up to something. Roddy's always up to something. It's fun. Lash Legend and Alba Fire, John Smith, they're finally going to get at it again.
That's a fast forward for me. I'm going with Alba Fire on this one.
John Connie?
Yeah, I have to agree, because I just don't think Lash is ready yet. I think this is going to hopefully help her out, make her look better. But I don't think Alba Fire should be losing to Lash Legend yet.
No. She's our forever champion. Well, now Briggs and Jensen are forever champions. That was hysterical. Solo Sikoa was pissed that he got back jumped by Von Wagner after the SmackDown in Orlando in the parking lot. So they're going to go at it in a Falls Count Anywhere match tonight. Von Wagner says he's the new street champ. If Solo wants his crown back, then come get it, John Connie.
And I think the street champ will take back his street crown. I think, what Wagner, it's exactly what should have happened. Wagner jumped him. Wagner's the heel. Wagner, made himself look good by nefarious means. Straight up, I think Solo gets the job done, unless they bring in someone new to help out Wagner. I don't know, but I think if this stays pretty much one-on-one, maybe we throw Rob Stone in a dumpster again or something like that. But if this stays pretty much one-on-one, I think Solo Sikoa wins.
John Smith.
I'm going to go with Wagner on this one just because of the Mr. Stone factor. He can distract him. He doesn't need to, do anything to him, and then distract him enough that, Solo gets hit from behind. I just see Wagner winning this. I think he needs it more than Solo does.
Yeah, I'm going to toss it. It could go either way. I'll just go Solo Sikoa because it's a street thing, and that's his thing, and so let's just leave it at that. And then going back to the women's division, backstage with Toxic Attraction, Mandy is going to get Zoe at Heatwave in 3 weeks, or now it's 2 weeks. But here comes Saul Ray, who wasn't in the Battle Royal because she was over in the UK, asked to get her title shot. She didn't say please, so Mandy said no. So she said please to Mako. She gets the title shot. Said she didn't say please to Mandy, so Mandy said no. But next week, she's going to repay Saul Ray for almost breaking her face a few months back with that leaping drop kick. So long-term storytelling. There you go. So we got Mandy Rose and Saul Ray, John Smith, non-title.
I know these non-titles always get me. I'll go with Saray with the Raw roll up.
Then when Saray gets called up to the main roster, Nakamura can have a fourth ninja assassin, John DeConnie. Saray, you got Io, you got Asuka, you got Kyrie, back. Nakamura destroying people. Anyway.
I love that idea. I'm gonna say Mandy just because I don't. Usually if you win in the non-title, then you get a title shot, and she's already got her next opponent in Zoe. So I'm gonna say Mandy. Cheats to win, but she gets the job done.
Yep, I agree with that one. I'm gonna say definitely cheat to win. Backstage with Roxanne Perez, who earlier in the night made her comeback with a lunge of Blaze of all people. There we go. Oh, left field. Pulled the tag team title belt that Cora threw away the week prior out of the trash can and announced a fatal 4-way elimination match to determine new tag team champions. Here are our competitors. God damn it. If Katana and Kaden don't win it tonight, when is it going to happen? It has to be tonight. John Smith, you are a senior NXT correspondent. I spy a Jersey girl for the umpteenth time trying to get these titles. Can we please put them on Katana and Kaden?
Absolutely not. Gigi and JC are going to be 3-time champions after this night's over. I just see that happening. No, but there's been one other 3-time champ, and it's Johnny Gargano as North American champion. So I think they do it first as women.
John Connie.
If this was for points, and I something was, I was on the line, I was neck and neck with someone like perhaps maybe a Brian Roy. I'd probably have to go with Toxic because I think that's probably how it's going to work out. But I 100% agree with you, Al. If not now, when?
It's
Give
never.
me Kaden and Katana.
It has to be. God damn it. So that will do it for NXT. Looks like a fun show. That's going to do it with WWE as a whole. Thank you. You're going to be seeing this picture a lot. Thank you very much. And that will bring us to Impact Wrestling, who was pretty big in the Ric Flair last match. They had an Impact Championship match. They didn't Impact the Knockouts Championship was on the line as well. Jordan Grace defended. That was actually a little bit scary because Rachel Ellering rolled up her ankle right at the beginning. But Jordan Grace retained as planned, and Josh Alexander retained as planned, so nothing really happens there. But good showing by Impact Wrestling in the Ric Flair's last match show. John DeConnie, last Thursday, I can't believe they said it. Hannafin said it. 2 former NXT Cruiserweight champions or
Yes.
WWE Cruiserweight champions.
Impact doesn't play games like that. They're not afraid to mention the other guys. No problems whatsoever.
They put their champion in the WWE Rumble. It's not like they have.
There was that one week. I think it might have been the week before or after. Some friends of ours were sitting right behind the announce position. That next week there was a dude for the entire show sitting there with an NXT championship over his shoulder, right between the 2 announcers every time they went to that view. So yeah, they have no qualms with talking about the fact that wrestling exists outside of their world. But this main event, Kushida making his first in-ring appearance against Rich Swann, who's on the comeback. He's tired. He's been on a little bit of a losing streak. He's looking to make his way back, shake things up. They start with a handshake. Just to remind you, this is face-on-face action. These are 2 good guys. Kushida's in control early on. He's working the shoulder. He grabs a hammerlock every chance he gets. They trade back, Swann with some blistering chops to the chest, Kushida with some forearm shivers. Kushida starts kicking the hamstrings to make sure that Swann stays grounded. We get a double cross body, which I don't know how guys pull that off without breaking ribs. Every time I see one of those, it just ouch. Kushida jumps to a guillotine with a hammerlock combo, but Swann fights him off. Eventually, it all goes exactly where you think it's going. Swann gets the upper hand for a minute. He hits a handspring Frankensteiner that's beautiful. He climbs for the Phoenix Splash, but Kushida knocks him off, jumps into the hoverboard lock, and we get a tap, and we get a first victory in Impact for Kushida.
Yeah, and Kushida, I don't think is under an Impact contract. I heard Kushida was going back to Japan, which is why he wasn't in our little game earlier to go back to WWE. But then there's another guy he was shining. He was beginning to shine right when Hunter, right before he left, and they made the switch to Nickelodeon. So there was a backstage interview with Moose saying there's no alliance with Macklin. He's actually pissed at Macklin for tainting his win with Sami Callihan at the last Impact Plus special. I forget the name of it. I forget why. Why did Johnny Gargano appear in Impact in a video package?
I completely missed that. Completely missed it.
They did a video package or something. I was like, oh my God. Oh, I think it was a machine gun. I forget what it was. I don't know. But Johnny Gargano said something. We got Johnny Gargano was on Impact. I can't believe there was not a big deal about that. It was in a video package, just like, like The Rock was when Ken Shamrock, just a video thing. He wasn't even, or AJ Styles was.
Must have been going into or coming out of a commercial, and I fast forwarded through it because that would have definitely popped me.
Yeah, so Johnny was there. I forget what he was talking about. Eric Young still not happy. He wants the Motor Machine Guns taken out. Tasha Steelz apparently used to wrestle in Louisville in OVW, and as a former OVW champion, Tasha was scouting out some local talent, John Connie.
Yes, we had. Yeah, this was one of those odd matches where you're like, what is happening here? I could see either one of these competitors being here to, I don't know, lose to Masha Slamovich in 8 seconds. But we had Tiffany Nieves, former CCW competitor and ring announcer, and Miss Jada Stone, that I'm not necessarily all that familiar with. And it was only a 2-minute match. Tiffany won with a DDT and a completely unnecessary roll all the way over to the ropes just so she could stack her up for the Raw roll-up and grab the ropes to put herself over as a heel.
Nice. Girl after our own heart. The girl after our own heart, John McConaughey. Check one for Impact.
That's right. But then after we found out exactly what this match was. This was to set up. The lights went low. There was a little red lighting, and Killer Kelly makes her return. She gets face-to-face with Nieves. She gets smothered into, I guess you would call it a straitjacket sleeper. She had her arms crossed against her own throat. And she delivered a shotgun dropkick to Stone and followed with, it was like she fell forward into it, but it kind of looked like the Angel's Wings, Christopher Daniels' Angel's Wings. And Tasha Steelz at ringside. She didn't like what she was seeing, but she didn't get involved. But she made a point of saying, I don't like what I'm seeing here.
The Ric Flair moment of the week was the dog barking contest with Jay Lethal. Woo, woo, woo. Was
Greatest moment in TNA history.
Yeah.
Fight.
It's up there with Steiner math. It's probably the 2 greatest promos ever. Trey Miguel and the Laredo Kid defeated Johnny Swinger and Zicky Dice after a meteora on one of the two. I couldn't tell the difference between the two because they both had demolition masks on.
God, these two are amazing.
It was A for effort. And that match actually went pretty long. What was the time on that match? That match actually went a lot longer than I thought it was going. It went through a commercial break, I think, too.
You know what? But I think they went right to the commercial break, so it wasn't as long as you think. I think it was only like 4 minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes. There you go. Josh Alexander, he defeated Mahalabala Shira with an ankle lock. They went through a commercial, came back from commercial. Raj Singh stayed in the ring complaining about Shira's loss. Lights out, lights on. Cactus Driver 97. And Sami Callihan grabbed the mic. Both Moose and Macklin have a date with the Death Machine. But before that date happens, as we found out about an hour before we went on air, that Sami Callihan will be fighting Shira. Was it Shira or Raj Singh? One of the two. This Thursday on Impact. John McConney.
Yeah, either way. Either way, Sam.
Yeah, it's John Smith.
Who is it? Shira and who?
It's Sami Callihan. I'm trying to look it up now. Sami Callihan versus either Shira or Singh. It is Raj Singh. Even worse.
I'll go with Sammy.
There you go. Probably a post-match attack at some point.
Yeah.
Jessica. I guess Vexed was planning Deanna's bachelorette party. Jessica wants to party with Vexed, which Vexed wanted nothing to do with her. Rosemary wanted Jessica away from Vexed. Remember, when you're spelling Jessica, it's ICK because I'm sick. Came completely out of nowhere. I fell out of the couch. This week we got a preview of the Emergence Tag Team Championship match. It's Rosemary. I Spy Jersey Girl, John Smith. Rosemary versus Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah, you got to go with Jersey on this one.
I didn't think Havoc would ever make me laugh, and I was crying, John the County.
I completely agree with you, and I agree with Smith on this one. Deonna Purrazzo over Rosemary this week.
Last week, actually probably the week prior, Giselle Shaw got the love letter that we were hoping was a brunch invitation from Masha Slamovich, John the Connie. We have Masha going up against Giselle Shaw. Tennille lasted a minute 15. I think Madison lasted somewhere in a minute 15 area. What's Giselle going to do here?
I'll put it at a minute 25, and I might even take the over myself. And maybe we start to see Masha, I don't know, wrestle a little bit, other than just hit a snowplow.
John Smith.
Yeah, I like the over, but not by much. Maybe a 2.5 minute match. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So Giselle's not your average girl.
She certainly is not.
Backstage, Bhupinder Gujar again misses opportunity at the Digital Media Championship. And trying to get out of lying about giving an open challenge to the locker room. Crazy Steve came by saying Black Taurus actually answered the challenge. So Myers got caught in a lie, and now he's got to defend the Digital Media Championship, John Smith, against Black Taurus.
I mean, Black Taurus should win this one, but no, I gotta have the champ retain on there.
Yeah, John the Connie, this with Gujar and Myers is actually getting more entertaining than I thought it would be.
Absolutely. Does anybody have eyes on Matt Cardona?
I do. He was there on Sunday. He's healthy. Oh. He's fine.
All right. So his wife was at work. Maybe he comes and helps him because I don't know how the hell else Brian Myers beats Black Taurus, but I imagine he's going to and retain.
Yeah, Matt Cardona came out. I forget when he came out during Ric Flair's last match. He ended up getting diamond cutted by DDP. So that just shows you where that went. So Eddie Edwards in the opening contest defeated Ace Austin after a diehard driver. Fun match, clean win. No cheating, no nothing. Eddie got Honor No More fired up, and they approached Scott D'Amore, demanded to get what they deserved. Nothing was granted. And then during the course of the show, I guess Mia Yim had an interview. There was technical difficulties during the interview, and during a segue by Hannafin and Raywalt, was caused by Honor No More ripping off Retribution, screwing with the production truck, and making things all fuzzy and furry and whatnot. D'Amore was fed up with Honor No More. So there's going to be a 5-on-5 at Emergence. They just announced, I guess maybe a couple days ago. They didn't announce it on this show who the 5 were for each team, but it's going to be Honor No More versus Bullet Club. Found out it's going to be Edwards, Taven, Bennett, Vincent, and PCO. Kenny King sitting this one out against the Good Brothers, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, and Hikuleo, who's always, I guess just like sitting around, in case, in case of emergency, break glass, and you got Hikuleo. But that will be at Emergence in 2 weeks. When we get Thursday, though, we have a Derby City street fight between PCO and Doc Gallows. John Smith, I know I usually go with you're just a big Doc Gallows fan, and I feel like that's going to be.
You mean Sex Ferguson?
Sex Ferguson, yes.
Where is he?
The very same.
There he is, right behind me. Right there.
There he is.
Right over my left shoulder, Sex Ferguson. I don't know. This is the type of match PCO wins, so give me him, even though Doc Gallows rarely counts the lights.
I was about to say, like, Carl Anderson is going to be in there with him to count the lights, Sean DeConnie. I don't know what happens.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Eddie Edwards, I guess he shot a promo. We left PCO alone this week.
Yeah. We didn't verbally beat up on PCO for absolutely no reason again this week, so that was a good thing. But it's a street fight, so anything can happen. But Gallows has been pinned in the last month. I can't see it happening again this soon. It's one of the most protected guys in the sport, so I'm gonna go with Gallows.
Yeah, I got Heath coming out and hitting whatever that move he's been doing. He's trying to take out one at a time. He hasn't gotten the PCO yet. He actually hit Vincent twice.
Yeah.
He hasn't gotten the PCO yet. The street fight, everything's legal. This would be a good time for Heath to come out and lay one on PCO just so Eddie Edwards can yell at him next week. So that will do it for Impact as we go to the last segment of our show, AEW Dynamite. Main events, I kind of snuffed at, if that's a word. Snuffed at, that's the word I'm thinking of. Bryan Danielson in his return, John DeConnie, against Daniel Garcia, who just came off a tough loss at Death Before Dishonor. I don't think anybody saw it this way. I think people complained about it too.
Yeah. Well, of course. But it is amazing. There's something in Danielson's DNA that he just loves to help build, put the next guy over, because he has no problems counting the lights. Just as many times as someone is going to just drop into a conversation that he's perhaps the greatest wrestler, technical wrestler alive today, and then he, gets in a meeting and says, like, why don't I put this guy over? So
Yeah, he can win.
Danielson gets his bell rung early on in this one, and they're selling the fact that he's just coming back from a concussion or some kind of head injury, so he's not quite right throughout the rest of the match. And after he hits a diving knee to the running knee off of the ring apron to the floor, he rolls Garcia back in. He goes to follow him, and a hand comes up from under the ring, grabs a hold of his leg, won't let go for about 10 seconds. By the time Danielson shakes him off, he runs right into a pile driver from Garcia. He's been dropped on his head once again. Then Garcia locks in the sharpshooter and leans way back. I mean, like he could have gone for, a chin lock. He was so up by Danielson's face there. And Danielson passes out. The ref has no choice but to call for the bell. And in 17 minutes and 10 seconds, your winner, Daniel Red Death Garcia over Bryan Danielson by technical submission. And afterwards, Jake Hager is the first one in the ring to kind of pat him on the back because he was the guy underneath the ring causing the distraction and setting Danielson up. Jericho leaves the announce desk to come down, and they celebrate as the show ends.
Bryan Danielson buried.
Oh, he's done. It's over.
I don't think he can recover.
Hey, to be fair, there was interference. It wasn't like he put the guy over clean.
Burying people. With an interim, John Connie. Okay, so an interim AEW championship match that started the show, which always scares the crap out of me. The last 2 times they did that, there were 60-minute draws.
You didn't have to worry about this one quite so much. It went under 15, but it was a quality 14-plus minutes. This was Jon Moxley defending his interim world championship against Roosh, or Roosh Lee, as we've come to call him and love him. The referee was very lenient in this match. They were outside the ring for what had to have been about 2.5 minutes. Somehow we didn't get to a 10 count. At one point, Roosh grabbed some AV cords and was blatantly choking Moxley at ringside. No one seemed to see it. Jose distracted the ref, which allowed Andrade to come down, who didn't come out with Roosh. He came down in the middle of this match to shove Mox off the top buckle. That brought the Lucha Brothers down, and they chased Andrade off through the crowd. Roosh misses the Bull's horns. So even though Moxley messed with the Bull, he did not get the horns.
Wow.
But he hit the paradigm shift suplex version. He only got a 2. He grabbed a sleeper. Mox did. He transitioned into the Bulldog choke, and he eventually got the submission win, 14 minutes, 15 seconds. Afterwards, Jericho and the Appreciation Society came out on the stage. We found out that Anna Jay is indeed in the fold. She is an official member now. And 2.5 years later, Jericho demands his rematch with Jon Moxley. And it looks like it's happening at the Quake, by the lake. Something like that.
By the lake, long-term storytelling, 2.5 years. And you know what? It goes back further than that. This still goes back to Mitch the Plant and Ambrose destroying Jericho's laid-up jacket. Like, this has been going on for about 5 years now. So, let's do it.
But Mox wants to go back even further than that. Because he doesn't want the sports entertainer Jericho. He doesn't want, the little sperm whale hairdo coming off the top of his head Jericho. He wants the Lionheart.
John Smith in an FTW championship match. I think Danhausen's the one that's been cursed in all these matches.
Yeah, Ricky Starks issued an open challenge, and of course Danhausen's the one that answers the call. It didn't take too long for Starks to hit him with a spear, but not before planting his face in the second turnbuckle and selling a neck injury. So I'm sure he'll be blaming something on that, because afterwards he said he was feeling good for some reason and wanted another open challenge. And then Hook comes out and the crowd goes wild. So they start, this match it went 1 second longer than the Danhausen match. But it ended up with Starks missing the spear. And then he put the Hook reversed some move. I think it was a power bomb or something into a Taz mission. I don't know what he calls it. But it's a Taz mission.
He's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. He calls it Red Rum.
Oh, okay.
Murder spelled backwards.
Oh, is that what that means?
Red Rum.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, Starks taps out like pretty quickly. He fought for about maybe 5 seconds, but he tapped out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And that was that. And they fist bump, and it's over. And then after the commercial, Ricky Starks is in the ring talking about how his time was last year, his time was 5 months ago, his time is now, blah, blah, blah. I'm sick of being held back, sick of being told to wait my turn. And then Powerhouse Hobbs just clubs him with that giant arm of his in the side of the head, knocks him damn near unconscious, then picks him up and gives him a hell of a spine buster for his efforts. And now I guess that's where this is going.
Yeah, I think Ricky Starks might be actually taking time off. I think that because the neck injury was selling, but the week before when he, whenever he wrestled, was it Dante Martin or whoever it was, when he gave out the open challenge and Danhausen accepted, he's like, well, you got to give me a second to get my neck straight. Like he threw it out there that his neck was, I think this might actually be legit. He might be actually taking time off. So maybe that's why I had to drop it for this. But yeah, so now Hook joins. You wanted Danhausen. I wanted Danhausen to join the lineage, but now it's Hook. Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, Sabu, and Taz. Jungle Boy, in-ring interview. Jungle Boy has a potty mouth. He will not be allowed on the Essential Wrestling Podcast. Christian interrupted, saying Jungle Boy told Christian all the secrets, and now Christian is going to prey on them. House of Black promo. Malachi talked about Miro. Not sure if it was good or bad. I think Malachi offered him a Miro throne. I had a hard time hearing that promo. Brody talked more trash about Darby, proposed a coffin match, and Buddy Matthews was nowhere to be found. This is probably dealing with the Rhea Ripley, Aliyah Mysterio thing. Thunder Rosa defeated Yusa Yamashita. Sorry.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
After a Thunder Driver to retain the AEW Women's Championship, there was an awkward reacquaintance with the Bucks and Hangman Page. It really had nothing to do with Hangman Page, huh?
Yeah.
Nothing to do with them. They got nothing. Like, hey, former world champion, what do you do with them? I don't know.
Trio's coming.
Yep. Yeah, I'll get that in a second. Yeah, I guess I should have paired that with that. Swerve Strickland defeated Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling after that jump kick. Tony Nese jumped Swerve post-match while Josh Woods helped Keith Lee. He jumped Keith Lee in the back. So Josh the Goods Woods from Ring of Honor is now under the tutelage of Smart Mark Sterling. I don't know why this just came to me now. I think when we just mentioned Matt Cardona, I think Matt Cardona came out with Mark Sterling as well at Ric Flair's last match. There was a lot going on. I think Mark Sterling was there. I was sober watching this too. Why am I forgetting what's going on? Anyway.
Because you were sober.
Sterling and Cardona are buddies, so that could just be friendship, not storyline.
Dante Martin going to counter Ty Conti with Sky Blue in his match against Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara beat Dante Martin would go to hell, and Sky Blue proved to be useless.
Pretty much.
Trios titles were finally announced. Apparently, Dalton Castle's big win at Death Before Dishonor was what was finally needed to get this thing going. There's going to be a tournament announced. The participants have not been announced yet. The finals will be at All Out.
And they have enough to do a 64-team bracket.
So, yeah. I haven't used this joke in a while. So who do you think is going to win the trios titles?
It'll end up being Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
Well, like I said, we'll get to that in a second. Just on the Rampage version of Fight for the Fallen. But again, this was AEW's Fight for the Fallen. I forgot to mention this to help out Oceania, partnering to help defend the world's ocean life and marine life. To help support the Finn Band, text Shark to 707070. Text rates apply. I think.
Sure.
Probably. On the AEW Rampage version of Fight from the Fallen, Anna Jay defeated Ruby Soho with the Queen Slayer. Man, how the mighty have fallen. Lee Moriarty defeated Matt Sydal with the Border City Stretch. And Ethan Page defeated Leon Ruffin. Again, Leon Ruffin left off that list as well. He's with AEW now, I think. I don't know. After muttering, I hate this place, John DeConnie, I missed that. You want to just elaborate just a little bit before dropping those?
He's clearly frustrated backstage. There are, it's kind of one big happy family, but apparently he is one of that short list of people who's not happy with the way he's being used. He looked dead into the camera, knew that camera was live, and mouthed the words, "I hate this place," before delivering the Ego's Edge.
Wow. So the North, huh? How'd that split up go? You're really going to stay in Impact? You're going to look at this place as a joke. I was a karate guy. No. So that was Fight for the Fallen this week. Coming up on Dynamite, as you mentioned, the Trios titles. Now all of a sudden, the Undisputed Elite is back. So you got the Young Bucks, you got Red Dragon, you got Adam Cole. For trios titles, teams of 3, obviously the Undisputed Era, that's 3. That kind of figures the Bucks out. So maybe that Hangman Page thing, or maybe as what Johnson said, Kenny Omega comes back. We haven't heard or seen from Kenny Omega. It has to be 10 months. Coming up on a year, right? Like it's
September when he dropped his title? Something like
coming
that.
up on a year.
Yeah.
How has wrestling gone on without Kenny Omega, John Smith? There are so many stars that were Dave Meltzer's like little star pad is like, oh.
Yeah, they needed to give us a break from having such great matches so then other guys can look like they are good too.
So they're back. We have a tag team match, John DeConnie, Thunderstorm against Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. They're finally going to get at him.
I want to say Thunderstorm, but I got to think to move this along wherever it's going, whether it's turning Storm and Thunder against each other or getting Britt back in the title picture. I got to think Britt and Hayter take the win here.
John Smith.
I can't bet against my girl Tony. I'm going with Thunderstorm.
I don't blame you.
As I mentioned earlier, Christian Cage has some stuff going on. He's got a blast from the past. Let's rewind to the year 1999. We got Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage. I guess this stemmed off of John Smith, Christian's remarks. Jeff, a couple weeks ago. Christian doesn't have a big dinosaur backing him up now, though. So,
yeah, I feel like the dinosaur and Jungle Boy might get involved too. So I'm going to go with Matt Hardy on this one.
John DeConnie.
Yeah, if this was any other company, I'd say this would be a no contest or a DQ because there really is no point in this match. I'm going to go with Smith here and say that Jungle Boy finds his way into it and costs Christian Cage continuing their heat.
I can only recall one dumpster match in pro wrestling history from WrestleMania 14, and God, that was fun. That was a good. Many people might not watch WrestleMania 14 or whatever. I guess Austin Michaels was great, but the dumpster match right before it, Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie versus the Outlaws, was absolutely hysterical. It was great.
That's a WrestleMania I've never seen.
You've never seen 14?
No, I fell out of it for a couple of years. I didn't see. I saw 13. I saw 15, but I was out of it for almost 2 years in between.
Yeah, that match was fun. That was a decent card. It was a good card. Pete Rose shined in that card too. So we have a dumpster match this Wednesday between the Acclaimed and the Gun Club, coming off their ferocious rap battle. John Conn.
If they want to turn this into a winner is us moment, get both of them inside of the dumpster and somebody put a lock on it. I'm gonna say the Acclaimed win.
But that Danhausen put the lock on it, John Smith. Lock you in.
Yeah, give me the Acclaimed also.
Yeah, might as well. Powerhouse Hobbs will be in action after his attack, as John Smith mentioned. The Best Friends and Orange Cassidy last week on Dynamite had some words with Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh. So they went at it on Rampage, in which Orange Cassidy and Best Friends got the win after an orange punch on Sanjay Dutt. Post-match attack by Lethal was thwarted by Wardlow. Interesting. But we got Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal tomorrow night. So John Smith, that's by a Jersey guy here. Jay Lethal is going to be like flirting with Wardlow here in that TV title. You got to think you would have to beat Orange Cassidy, right?
Yeah, Orange Cassidy is like their guy. So do they have Jay Lethal beat their guy? I don't think so. I'm going to go with Orange on this one.
All right, John Connie.
It's does Lethal cheat to win, and that's what brings out Wardlow, or is it just a post-match attack and that's what brings out Wardlow? There's no points on the line. I'll just say Lethal cheats to win, and then continues to beat on him afterwards, and that's what brings out Wardlow.
There you go. And then what will probably be the main event, Claudio. Last week on Rampage, Ring of Honor champ getting some quality TV time. Last week on Rampage, Claudio Castagnoli with William Regal in the ring. Thanks to fans for supporting him. No problem. We love you. Calls Wheeler Yuta to join him, interrupted by Chris Jericho, who's doing commentary. He's a Rampage commentator. Yuta and Jericho exchange words, ending with Jericho putting his title shot on the line against Moxley to face Wheeler Yuta on Dynamite. So you have like an impromptu number one contenders match. But then as the Blackpool Combat Club, they don't give a crap. They'll fight each other if they have to. Wheeler Yuta wins John Smith, and Yuta's going to fight Moxley at what's it? What? Quack Quake by the Lake.
I don't know.
Are there even earthquakes in Minnesota?
I'm sure he wrestled there.
Right? There's lakes. I get that, but that's like the Los Angeles Lakers move. No, the Minneapolis Lakers moved to Los Angeles where there are no lakes.
So wait, it's Yuta versus Jericho for number one contendership, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I gotta go with Jericho here.
John, they could delay this. I mean, no one's gonna be upset by Moxley and Yuta. You can delay the Jericho match till All Out. That's only 4 weeks, 5, whatever. It's a month. It's a month from tomorrow, actually. Or a month from Thursday.
That is true. But I don't see it. Only because, they've already got their posters made up for Quake by the Lake, this, that, and the other thing. So I think Floyd plays a part here, and Jericho gets the victory.
Maybe some more people grabbing at him from under the ring. Possibly.
Could be.
All right, so that will do it. Let's get the screen back gray here. There we go. That looks nice and normal. So here are the Raw roll-ups after this week. There's 2? Really?
It's like,
yeah, but that was probably the biggest Raw roll-up of the year, that Liv Morgan one.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tiffany, these were 2 outstanding Raw roll-ups. Don't get me wrong. Tiffany Nance's was so unnecessary to the point where it was amazing. And then Liv Morgan with a title defense, that's 2 on Ronda Rousey, giving her 4 overall. Here are the overall standings. Raw, the Liv Morgan one went to SmackDown, so that gives them 22. Impact to 27, now chasing AEW 29. Liv Morgan's now tied for second with Wheeler Yuta, with Dana Brooke, all still chasing Xavier Woods. And Xavier Woods looks like he's going to be out for a while after the Vicious Viking Raiders took out his ankle, so that'll give them some time here to chase him down. And then The Miz and Tamina still leading the group with the most losses.
It seems like there's a booker on the Impact booking committee that wants a job with Raw, with all those roll-ups they've had lately. They're sneaking up on AEW right there.
Okay, the primetime rundown's regular season programming has included and has resumed its second summer schedule every Monday at 7 p.m. Join Joey Jarzanka, Ian Schreier, and Mike Szabo as they bring you the world of sports on Monday nights through the thick of the summer right here on the Eastern Observer. And boys, get excited. I'm assuming they're going to be talking football soon. I know the Hall of Fame game in the NFL will be on Thursday. We get live professional football from the NFL. I shouldn't say that because the USFL was doing all spring.
That's this week?
Yeah, the Hall of Fame game is Thursday, I do believe.
Holy crap.
Oh, wow. I forget who's playing. The Jaguars and the Bengals?
Sure.
Something like that. So I know we're going to be crossing over. We are, I know John Smith and I will be on the AFC East episode. John DeConnie might be, as a Bears fan, he should be on the NFC North. John and I aren't due on until I think August 23rd. So we're going to be doing a doubleheader on that Tuesday. We're going to go right from here to there. So that's going to be fun. Nice. Speaking of the Eastern Observer, do you have any interest in becoming a sports reporter? Would you want to be asking high-profile coaches and players questions in person? Are you a college student looking to break into the sports media industry and looking to write about your favorite team? The Eastern Observer is looking for interested candidates to join the family for college credit. That is incredible. I still don't understand how Joe does that. Joe Jarzanka, Joseph Kennedy Jarzanka, can give you college credit. Looking no further, aspiring writers, social media specialists, content creators, etc. can inquire by emailing eosports3@gmail.com. We are looking forward to having you join the Eastern Observer family. The Black Cats NYC, the official band of the Eastern Observer. Anywhere you get your music, Deezer, YouTube, SoundCloud, Pandora, you can get the Black Cats NYC's new album, Free Cake. Out now, play loud. I'm on a rough reading day.
You've only been reading it for 2 years.
Yeah, I know, right? As always, the Central Wrestling Podcast. I'm screwing up my own promo. Central Wrestling Podcast is sponsored by Pro Wrestling Pick'em, the internet leader in sports entertainment pick and pools. Join us in the Central Wrestling Podcast public pool to play against us or create a private pool with you and your friends. ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends. Play against the universe. And guys, she will like it too. Join us back here next week for episode 113 at 5 p.m. on all of our viewing options. And while you're here and now watching and listening, please make sure you like this episode and subscribe to the Eastern Observer, and make sure you get all the updates on all of our shows and news articles. It is all about the algorithm. Like us. Subscribe to us. Speaking of commenting, John Smith, anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'm going to need you to cut up the clip of me pouring the water on me and then put it at half speed and send it over to Max.
Got it. As I say, I forgot to bring that up in the SmackDown segment. They did have their summer swimwear. I knew what to order to the beach this weekend. It looked pretty stylish. It was good. Thank you, Demont Swa. John DeConnie, anything?
Just glad to see Max Dupree still part of that group. The week before, it started to look like perhaps he got replaced, but he was back. So happy to see that.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. Alexa Bliss, where'd you go? There you go. We love you. Larry, Steve, forever in our hearts.
Peace.
John DeConnie, take us home.
Thanks for joining us, and as always, we wish you the best in all your future endeavors.
There you go, John.
Thank you. Screenshot.